Hey guys, Falarwas here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Lee Sin game from Canyon. He is currently sitting at rank 9 on the Korean ladder with a 70% win rate on every single champion. This guy is just a complete solo queue monster. Now, I study his VODs pretty regularly. He tends to end games by 5 minutes each time, which sounds kind of weird, but it's true. If you look at the average game time on his Lee Sin games in like the last week, 15, 19, 15, a loss here, and 18. Every single win is under 20 minutes. The enemy team just FFs. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at a Lee Sin game and see just what does he do to shut the games out so early, so consistently. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Porofessor. I rarely take sponsorships on my videos, as I don't believe in recommending products that I wouldn't use, but I've used Porofessor for a pretty long time, as it's genuinely just a really helpful tool for junglers. You've probably seen it on my minimap in many of my videos. It simply adds a timer overlay whenever you see a camp being taken, so that you know exactly when it'll come back up. Now, a good jungler should be tracking this regardless, but League is a very hectic game, and having camp timers tracked automatically allows you to focus on your decision making instead. There's also a manual tracker for summoner spell timers, as well as various stats that you can pull up if you want to. Anything you don't want to see, you can simply disable to keep your overlay clean. It's completely free, so if you want to check it out, there's a link in the video description below. Alright, let's hop into a game. We are working with a Zac top into Gwen, Gragas into Lee Sin jungle, Kai'Sa into Syndra mid, and Draven Rell into Varus Twitch bot lane. So we are working with two pretty different team comps here. Blue side very heavy on the hard engage. Red side comp going to want to play a little bit more on their range. Now we do see the red team running down to the bot lane right away. This is super common in Korea at the moment. A lot of bot lanes will try to secure early control of the lane bushes, so people started running down here as 5 to try to catch them out. But this game doesn't look like anything's going to happen. Now, both junglers I think are going to want to focus on the bot side. From Gragas' perspective, their team already has 3 frontline champions with hard engage, so he really just needs to make sure his Draven and his Kai'Sa are able to play the game. On red side, Lee Sin's going to want to counter this Gragas' game plan because Gragas' game plan is so clear. He needs to make sure his Varus Twitch don't get ganked and fall behind. Twitch doesn't really offer any type of peel for the Varus if the bot lane gets ganked. And on top side, he doesn't really have any early gank set up from the Gwen, right? So Lee Sin also going to want to play down into the bot side. Now, oftentimes when you go for early invades on the bot side or this bot lane rush, you do have to be careful entering your top side jungle because the enemy jungle top could be waiting for you. But in this case, it's just the Zac and Gragas, so there's basically zero chance they're going to go for any kind of level 1 invade. But if it is like, say, Graves plus Olaf, for example, you have to be very careful entering your top side. Now, Canyon's starting out with his W at level 1 on the red buff, and this is a type of pathing that he started doing within just the last week or two after patch 13.3. He started to go red wolves blue on a lot of champions. I've seen him doing this on Lee Sin, on Nidalee, on Viego. He used to go Raptors red into Gromp or red Raptors into Gromp very commonly, but patch 13.3 added 5 EXP to every camp, and it made it so that you can hit level 3 off of going red wolves into blue. Now, I feel like there's not that many advantages behind going red wolves into blue, to be honest, as compared to red Raptors Gromp. The timing, the HP are both very similar, and red Raptors Gromp offers better respawns, as well as taking your Raptors off the map so they can't get counter-jungled. So I'm not entirely sure what his logic is behind doing red wolves blue. It may just be for testing. At least on Lee Sin, it does give him the blue buff for the energy regeneration, though, so that could be part of it. Gragas spotted in river here. Rell flashing in. Varus instant flash out. Very fast reactions there. And Lee Sin just looks to be covering the entrance right now, making sure the Gragas isn't able to get a flank off onto the Varus. Because if Varus goes down here with a wave that's stacked this large, bot lane is completely over. Draven is going to be irreparably ahead. So Lee Sin just hovering in the bush here. Here comes Gragas. Gragas actually queuing over the wall. He seems to suspect Lee Sin is there. Good read from Gragas. Does have to flash out though. And nothing really happens. Everybody just going to be able to walk out of this. Which is great for red team, right? Because their bot lane doesn't get completely demolished. Lee Sin thinking about the Q. Doesn't take it. Varus Twitch need to clear out this wave, right? If you force it this timer, Varus is going to have to drop the wave to come support you. Which is obviously awful. Does hit the Q onto the Rell blind. Ooh, baits out her W here. They could maybe continue. E flash from the Lee. He does not have Q up quite yet, not able to continue onto the Gragas, but that was really good. That was nice. Okay, seem to be pressing forward, clearing out the wave here. Draven's in a really bad spot. If he takes a recall right now, he loses this entire wave, but if he stays, he's gonna get dove, right? So Draven in a bit of a pickle right now. And here comes Lee. Gragas still here. He actually Qs the Gragas over the Draven. Oh, doesn't go down. Oh god, that feels so bad for blue team. Really well played from red team. Gwen also picking up the Zac up on top side. So this is a pretty bad hole opening up just in the span of 10 seconds. Lee Sin pushing in one more wave here for the Varus, making sure he gets a good recall. And Lee very low, probably going to take a recall here as well. Not quite enough for Iron Spike Whip, probably just going to pick up Pickaxe and Control Wards here. Lee Sin is surprisingly pretty decent on this patch. He wasn't doing so great in the start of Season 13, but recently on patch 13.3, they buffed the cooldown of the stealth wards early. They come up much earlier, and this is super, super nice on any champion that wants to ward hop, like Jack's top or Lee Sin jungle. Canyon resetting back out towards the top side. Looks like Zac is freezing the lane at the moment, so he could consider skipping the Krugs to help the Gwen break the freeze, because if she tries to break this on her own, Gragas could potentially gank her. But it looks like he's opting to go for the Krugs instead here. So kind of sacrificing his Gwen a little bit. I'll pause the video real quick to talk about this, because this is a very common position to be in as a jungler, where you do your first rotation, you take your reset, and as you come back out, you have the option of ganking for your top lane, versus just sequencing your camps and rushing back out for the bot side. Okay, and there's a couple primary factors that help you make this decision. Number one, how volatile is the top lane state? How much help does your top laner need? If the lane is neutral, there's not that much incentive to come out. But if your top laner is about to get dove, or he's getting frozen on, then he needs some help, right? That being said, you can only do one play at a time. So if you come out towards the top side, that means presumably you'd be delayed back down into the bot side. So if Lee Sin comes up here and tries to help out his Gwen, but Gragas just sequences down, Gragas will presumably reach the bot side first. And right now, the bot lanes are in a very, very volatile state where everybody is missing flashes. So it seems like Canyon is just prioritizing helping his bot lane out at this timer at the cost of his top lane. Now, another thing that can factor in here is how much danger is Gwen in. Even though Gwen has to come crash this on her own, look at the champions here. It's Gragas Zac, right? They have actually relatively low kill potential onto the Gwen as long as she isn't sitting at like 1/3 HP. And even if they somehow manage to kill her, it's just Zac. Remember what we talked about at the start of the game, right? The important lanes are over here. So I think here, Canyon is just choosing to give up his top lane, even though it comes at the risk of Gwen getting ganked here. He's just going to come sequence down. And here comes Gragas, right? And Gwen just dodges out, nothing really happening. And this means that Canyon's going to have a tempo advantage down into the bot side relative to the Gragas. He could potentially set up some kind of play, some kind of mid gank, bot gank before Gragas is able to arrive. Okay. Just sequencing back down, finishes off the Raptors with E. Doesn't seem like there's any gank potential mid at the moment, although Syndra is slow pushing in. Lee Sin here is going to have pretty strong prio down onto the bot side if he wants to go for a dragon or wants to go for a bot gank, as long as Syndra doesn't get ganked on the way. Okay, so just full sequencing back down into the bot side. Big slow push coming into his bot lane here. And it looks like he is skipping out his Gromp and going straight onto the Crab. Maybe looking for a gank here. Looks like Draven Rel playing pretty respectful. Could also look for a dive onto mid. Syndra's level 6 to level 5 on the Kai'Sa right now. So strong dive potential, but you have to keep in mind Gragas could be here at the moment. See how he decides to play this. Nice stun from the Syndra. A little bit of a slow ward hop. And Kai'Sa dashes this way. I would have gone the other way. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Has another ward hop in 2 seconds. Ward hop, auto E, and should go down to the Gragas here. Actually fighting pretty well between the towers. But he does go down, right? And that's really, really big for the Syndra here. The Kai'Sa is going to be extremely far behind. Gragas does manage to pick up the wave, which is nice for Gragas, right? But you'd rather have the EXP and gold onto your Kai'Sa. So both mid and bot losing on blue side right now. Really, really good for red team. Canyon resetting back out. He has picked up his Iron Spike Whip and his Kindle Gem. Now, he seems to be running back out to the bot side, actually, even though his red buff is up and Krugs and Raptors are respawning. That's quite interesting. Mid needs to reset. Bot, looks like Varus needs help crashing, so he's actually sacking his whole top side to run down and help the Varus crash. That's quite interesting. I mean, I suppose if Gragas is here, he can counter. If Gragas wasn't here, he could maybe dive. But Gragas does go down to the Twitch. Trade of flashes from the Rel and Varus. And here's Canyon. Twitch coming down as well. Is Varus going to go down? Seems okay. Actually, walking back... Oh my god. I feel like I see this no matter what the ELO. The ADCs just walk back in on the last auto and die for some reason. Canyon missing his Q, but takes it to the minion. Or maybe that was like some 200 IQ move. He didn't want to risk missing the Q on the Rel, so he just gap closed with the minion and finished her with an auto E. I don't know. I think it's more likely that he just missed there, though. Okay, starting up on the Dragon. And Twitch is 6-0 already. Probably has his Nashers on recall. So Canyon probably just going to want to play on his Twitch this game because his support is the real carry. Varus coming back out. Syndra crashing. Gragas, Kai'Sa coming over. Nice flash from Canyon. Kai'Sa ults in. Gragas goes down to the Varus Q. And wow, disaster for blue team. Dragon picked up for the red team. Kai'Sa gonna miss a massive cannon wave here. Sorry, cannon, not canyon. Draven pushing in, so Varus just gonna come catch this, and I'm assuming Lee's gonna clear it. Okay, I thought Lee was gonna clear out his bot side jungle, but it looks like he's taking recall. He doesn't have enough gold for Gore or even Warhammer here, so I guess he just wants to rush out for the Rift Herald, actually. But Gwen going down to the Zac, which kind of throws a wrench in that plan. Yeah, I think that's actually what he was thinking, because it looked like he was rushing out towards the top side, and he reversed back down after he saw that Gwen died. So I think he was skipping out his bot side to rush over to the Rift Herald. But now he's kind of adapting, rushing back towards the bottom lane. And probably just going to rush with the Twitch here. He has Medjais and Nashers at 9 minutes. Nice dodge from the Syndra, slash miss from the Gragas. Not able to pick up the Kai'Sa here. Look at that damage, man. That was like 2 autos and an E from the Twitch. That's disgusting. Lee Sin chasing down the Rel. Draven does pick up the Varus here. Viper going down. But I think Lee Sin going to be able to clean this up. Ward hops in. Doesn't bother with the Q, just walks it in for an auto E. Very nice. And I think he can push out one more wave here. Twitch continuing up onto the top side, taking the plates for himself. This Twitch is just a fucking monster at this point. And I'm assuming Canyon just going to rush over to the top side as well and play up for this Rift. Yeah, skipping out his entire bot side jungle here. And here comes Twitch. We have a second jungler. Zac getting completely chunked out. This should be a free Rift Herald. Looks like they're going for the mid-tier 1 first. Nicely done. And yeah, this game is looking pretty doomed for the blue team. Canyon and Twitch just completely taking over the game. Twitch just running through the jungle at this point. Doesn't care. He's just pushing the Gragas off. I don't know what you can do as Gragas by this point. Twitch actually walking into melee. Getting chunked out quite hard. Okay. Here comes Zac and Rel. This is looking a little bit sketchy at the moment. Nice! Oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. No such thing as sketchy when Canyon's in the game. Let's watch that again. Here comes the Rel. Here's the Zac. Yeah, and just the QRQ, E, and everybody goes down. Zac gets popped by the Gwen. They're going to be able to pick him up as well. Actually, Twitch going down. Gwen going down as well. So just Canyon alive here. Syndra can maybe push into... Oh man, brutal. Syndra actually didn't have the R yet. Like 1 to 2 seconds cooldown, so a little bit off on the timing. Canyon able to hit the Q. Ward hops back out. Syndra kind of stuck on the other side though. Maybe hits another Q. Canyon... Oh my god. He's so clean, man. He's so clean. 2 times in a row, he just clears out the minion and tags the Q onto the Kai'Sa instantly. Okay, gonna 2,300 gold here. Gonna be able to pick up the Gore Drinker. And I guess just head out for the top side again. Because Rift Herald is still up here. So overall, you can see that the priority that Canyon puts on his camp sequencing this patch is just not very high. He'll almost always make the play that favors his laners first. The camps are just too tanky relative to the amount of gold that they give, so he tends to kind of just run across the map looking for ganks, looking for dives, looking to break freezes, looking for neutral objectives instead. If you watch his games, this is fairly consistent across champions. He will almost always take a 3 to 4 camp into the bot side and just sit there, sometimes for like 20-30 seconds at a time in a bush, just waiting to make a bot lane play. And that's just unfortunately the state of the jungle at the moment. Hopefully 13.4 changes this balance a little bit, but for the time being, it's a very, very gank-heavy, lane-dominant meta. Okay, Canyon picking up the Rift Herald, and Twitch at this point just kind of running around the map, pressuring everywhere, and I'm assuming there's going to be an FF coming through in the next 3 minutes or so. Canyon moving back over to the bot side, looking for a dragon, maybe a play onto bot lane first. This is not a good time to go farm your camps, even though everything is up. You have prio mid, your bot's pushing in, you have Rift Herald, so go make the plays first, right? Pressure into the enemy jungle, take away the Gragas' camps, provide some safety in the enemy jungle, get some vision control, so that you can push in for the turrets first, and then you can drop back for the dragon and your camps. Lee Sin dropping the Herald down on bot, taking away the enemy red buff, Varus pushing down bot, blue team trying to make some last-ditch efforts, but looks like it's not going to happen. Lee Sin dropping back, and he will pick up the dragon here. Not quite enough gold for Black Cleaver yet. Does he even go back and farm his camps? Nope, he's coming back onto the map. Looks for a pick onto the Draven. Draven goes down, and takes the recall for Black Cleaver. Yep, again, skipping out his camps, just rushing back out onto the map. His team is making plays, so he doesn't take the time to go farm. Alright. And yeah, there's the FF, right? He hasn't farmed a camp in his jungle for the last, like, 3-4 minutes of the game, actually. He just kept running back out for more plays. Thanks for watching. A quick reminder that I do coach over at nice.gg if you want to check that out. The link is in the video description below. As always, a big thank you to my patrons for helping to make this channel possible.